Warning, this broadcast may contain the use of illicit substances and swears. It is not intended for those who cannot handle opinions. Beware of the laws of your state and enjoy. I'm your host, Slick, and I'm here with my co-host, Amon.
Bro, I think it's crazy how we're kind of back in that position like when Kanye was doing all the Donda stuff, where every podcast episode is an update to the last because so much is happening again. It's crazy. It's great too. But that AI crap from Drake, one, that's dirty, bro. The Snoop Dogg thing, I can understand that. It would have been funny if it was just Snoop Dogg AI on the track, but it still would have sparked some concerns with me. Like, why you putting AI shit on your music? He hasn't officially released that second one yet, but still, he's a big mainstream artist, one of the big three sales-wise. He is probably the biggest of the big three sales-wise. Like, definitely. And now he's using AI on his shit. When there was already that whole, like, Drake was one of the first artists to be copied with AI. Like on a big scale. I think Drake was the first artist to have a full AI album. And it was some dude named Ghostwriter who made the AI Drake album. And now Drake is using AI. The thing that really pisses me off though is Tupac, really? And Robert, dude, he thinks it's real. He thinks Tupac's came back from the dead, bro. But it's crazy. I really don't think Drake should have done that, to be honest. And I hope it doesn't make people start doing that as a more common thing. Like, I was going to make a full AI album with actual artists' voices, like Drake, Travis, Kanye, a bunch of people, all collabing on songs on a big album like some Metro Boomin type shit, but all with my production. And maybe some like AI production in there, like samples, so it all has a little bit of AI. But I would never go bringing people back from the dead with AI. That's not right. That's worse, in my opinion. That's worse than releasing albums for them. Because think about this. Yes, they release Juice WRLD albums still. They have one more Juice WRLD album. They released the last DMX album. They released a couple of Tupac albums after he died. But those are all from that artist. They're either A, remastered versions of old songs all stitched together. Some parts you can hear. Like you'll find a song or two and they'll be like, real ones know this song was called blah blah blah. They'll do that. But they're all still tracks by that artist. Now, in Drake's case, he just put a Tupac verse written and made by AI on a diss track. He's putting words in a dead guy's mouth. Tupac had nothing to do with that track. Didn't write it, didn't spit it, nothing. This wasn't an old Tupac verse, this was AI. Drake is legit putting words in Tupac's mouth. When, to be honest with you, Tupac probably would have been cooler with Kendrick than he would have been with Drake. Like, Drake ain't no real gangster. Kendrick doesn't push that he's hustling on the streets anymore. You know, he used to have the bar or two about it. He used to talk about being gangster and how he's seen some stuff, because I'm sure he has. But in his recent stuff, he hasn't really been up on that too much, especially with the whole Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. That wasn't even the point of that album. But still, bro, that's crazy.
Dude, me personally, I can't wait to see what Snoop says about it. Because if Snoop knew about it, that's fucked, right? But if Snoop didn't know about it, and he doesn't do anything about it, that's also fucked. Because personally, I think Snoop and Dre and all of them motherfuckers You wait. This is gonna be the thing that like makes Eminem make another whole album. Like he pushes back his retirement album just to make like a kamikaze fuck AI rap edition.
Dude, this is gonna be crazy. I mean, it's already starting to branch off. This is like also really recent. I didn't bring it up because this right now, I don't think this has anything pertaining to it. But Chris Brown and Quavo, however you want to pronounce his name, they're going at it right now. And this one is pertaining to it. Apparently, Kanye previewed a remix he's making. He's making a remix of Like That. Pretty sure that's the name of the track. The one with Kendrick, where Kendrick originally dissed Drake and started all this shit. Technically, Drake started it because he's been sneak dissing Kendrick for fucking years. But Kendrick set it off. Kendrick finally popped the cap, and Kanye previewed a remix, and he went at Drake and Cole, bro. But like, yeah, it's crazy. And if Snoop does get involved in this, I don't think Snoop will diss anyone, but I think Snoop might get legally involved. Because you remember Snoop started going through buying people's discographies up, and he bought out Death Row, trying to help his homies, I assume. Because like, if somebody has to have their discographies, it better be Snoop or someone close to Snoop. For like Dre's The Chronic and shit like that. I think The Chronic was the only one Dre had under them, because after that he did Aftermath, and he dropped the Aftermath album. Then he did 2001, and then he did Compton, which I think were all under Aftermath Interscope shit. But yeah, it's getting crazy, and that would be some shit if like not only does the new era go at it, but the old era gets involved too. Because you already had like Drake, Kanye, J. Cole, Kendrick, Travis Scott, A$AP Rocky, fucking The Weeknd, Metro, and Future all going at it right now. And really, they're all just teaming up on Drake. And J. Cole's been dissed by a few of them, but J. Cole's kind of like a secondary target. J. Cole's more because he did a song with Drake. He featured with Drake. J. Cole got himself put in this position, and J. Cole pussied out of it. So that's kind of J. Cole's stance. But Drake isn't pussying out, and I can at least commend Drake for that, you know. I can at least give Drake his props. And his first track did go pretty hard. For a Drake diss, I feel like he did pretty good. But like, Kendrick's gonna whoop his ass. Everybody's gonna whoop Drake's ass, bro. I know people were dissing Drake a lot back before, but this is like, Drake is going to get it, because Drake's been really questioned in terms of his fame and success and his stance in the game, with how he's been dropping mid-album after mid-album. Everybody's been starting to see that Drake is totally losing his wave, and he still gets the numbers, but he is not in his prime. And now that everyone's attacking him, I think this may be it. He might actually have to retire. He said he might after For All the Dogs, but bro, he's got to at least fight this. And then he might have to quit after, bro.
End of Drake, yeah, this is the end of Drake and shit. So like you said, you want to see if he's got more fight in him. Do you really think he's got another charged up or back-to-back at the in his belt? Because remember what happened right after Story of Adidon came out? That was like the last real beef that he tried to, you know, cause shit in. And then he went all crying about he's upset and shit.
Yeah, I don't think Drake has that in him again, but I do think, myself included here, when everyone heard the Drake diss track, it is good. He did good. And since all his recent shit has been progressively worse, aside from For All the Dogs, it had some okay moments, but you can tell it's all for sales. He doesn't give a shit anymore. It's not like he used to be. Like nothing was ever the same after Drake went new, after Drake became big as shit, because then Drake just stopped giving a shit. Drake knew that he could just find other ways to stay on the top. He didn't have to release amazing music. He could just do one good feature here and there to make sure he was on top of it. And he got onto all those new artist waves like J. Cole and fucking that one UK drill rapper dude. I forget his name, like Central C, when he was popping off, did that shit with him. You know, he jumps on these waves and he keeps himself up, but people started to notice that he's really been declining. And whenever he came out with this shit, since they're so used to Drake being ass now, it's like when he does something like this, if it's even remotely good, it's crazy. And it is a pretty good diss track. It's not just remotely good, but you know what I'm saying. People are definitely going to hype this shit up. There was a poll ran and it got a couple thousand votes on YouTube. I voted on it. It was which was the best diss track, Drake's, Kendrick's, or Cole's. Cole was losing, bro. Drake was second place and Kendrick won by like 50. He was like 52%. And I think Drake was like 30 something. And J. Cole was like 13. So Drake would have been what, 35?
I'm kind of surprised that Drake was that low. Even with him being mid, even with his poor performance on a lot of his shit, even with all of that, I'm still kind of surprised it was only 30-something%. I thought like an even 40 or a 41 would be good. Or not good. But like an even 41% would have been 40, 41, maybe 42, but that might be stretching it percent. Would have been a good rating for that, considering what he's been putting out. But he's still, you know, he's but how much, but do we know who wrote it? Did he get another ghostwriter to write it, or did he get AI to do it? Because that's the question, I guess. Because see, that's the thing that this all raises. Look what Drake's now doing with AI. What if he's getting AI to write it? And that means, I mean, does that mean AI product, you know, AI? How far can we say that Drake is going with AI? And how far, I guess, qualifies as ghostwriting by AI? Because I guess that's the question we got to ask now.
We're going to have to really question the validity of everything now. Like Charlie, Moist Critical, you know, he's been saying that for a while. There's going to come a time we got to question the legitimacy of everything that's released musically now, because it's going to get so good we won't be able to tell. And we can obviously tell the Tupac stuff is AI. It's got to be AI, and Snoop Dogg wouldn't get in on this. He has no reason. But in terms of the writing, how do we know, like you said, Drake didn't use AI? How do we know he didn't? And yeah, I know a good amount of AI writing still has moments where it sounds robotic, or it'll fuck up and not rhyme a word. And it doesn't, like, even if you've got some good lines, you still have to feed it the information. It wouldn't be able to dig up all that stuff on Kendrick or anything else. It wouldn't be able to dig that up. And it wouldn't have a very good grasp on recent knowledge. So you'd have to kind of update it in the past couple of weeks. But Drake's rich. He could have just had people do that for him on the spot. It probably doesn't take much for Drake. He could have just had that shit done. Plus, you know, he's, like I said, got the money. They probably have stuff that we don't have, because a lot of the AI stuff that's being made, they have like beta test shit where you can test out different versions, like before it comes out, you know, the updates and shit, and they don't just let anyone have it. It's Drake though. You know, they let Drake have it. Do you know Drake could just pay to get anything he wants? He has the money. So he could literally just have everything fucking AI written. Now, I'm not going to say it was all AI written. I really don't think it was. There was a lot of people saying it was AI or they thought it was AI, but I don't think so. Because, like, it just seems too advanced for AI right now in terms of the lyrics and the rhyme structure. But, like, the Tupac stuff, the Snoop Dogg stuff, totally AI. I do agree, though, like I said, we're going to really have to start questioning it because there's going to come a point where we won't even know. And he could have still, like I've done it occasionally, you have AI write you a verse and you take one or two good lines and you put it into your stuff or you stick it at the start of your verse so you have something to go off of to get you started or whatever. But I've never used it for a full track or full verse. So, like, yeah, I can't relate to that. Sorry, Drake.
Okay, so yeah. My thing too is just to add on to your point too, and what you're saying, because it's all kind of coming together. You got to ask yourself this too: how much independence in the industry does Drake have, really? Like judging by what Kanye's contract leaks back a couple years ago were like, and seeing how long he's been in the industry and shit, what do we really know about Drake's contracts? And that poses this interesting question. How much control does Drake really have if some executive producer is like, we're going to use AI because it's going to save us a bunch of fucking time and money? You know, time is money, right? We got to get these albums out. You know what I mean? You're a huge name, and you've got all these things going on. You started all this stuff, so we got to get an album ready. We got to get an album out in like 10 days, 15 days. I don't know. I'm just giving an estimate, I guess, based on how these things usually go. Because you know when things like this line up the way they do, with everybody releasing stuff, everybody pushing stuff, it's going crazy right now. How many people have stuff on deck that they're going to release in the middle of all of this, just because hip hop is such a buzzing genre right now? How many people are like saying, how many people are you going to start seeing talking about, oh, my album was pushed back. My album was pushed back because there's another Drake disc, because there's another Kendrick Lamar disc, because there's another, I mean, some of these people deserve to get their albums pushed back. But like, oh, and then you even got Kanye involved here, because when he releases this next part of Vultures, his name is now tied to all of this. So this is really, really an interesting year for hip hop, dude. All these questions. It's crazy. Oh, and to finish up on this point, the farthest I'd go with AI, like you said, is to like use it more of a supported tool. The way I would do it, because you know how I already do writing, is give me, I don't know, an ideal thing I would consider a useful thing within, you know, that wouldn't be considered ghostwriting, wouldn't be considered AI writing, but using AI, like, I don't know, give me a 16 verse, what the fuck? Give me a 16 bar hip hop verse, just beginning and end words on each bar. Fit it with this specific, you know, give it a little bit of a story to run with. make sure it knows the story that you're going to fit in there. But then again, I don't know how advanced that particular thing is. With what Drake has access to, like you said, you can probably do it. But I mean, that's as far as I go with it, because it's hard for me to think of those first lines and last lines. It still is. It'll come more natural to me as I do more, but it's still kind of hard. It's hard to think about the first line of the first verse and like the little transitions and making sure everything fits together. It's hard for me to like compartmentalize all that. It's just because I think at the speed of light, pretty much. So maybe it would be a good tool for that. There's just so many questions.
Yeah. And going to your contract thing, immediately when I heard you bring up the whole, what if they want to throw in AI, how much control would Drake have? The truth is, though, we got to ask this question now. Is there even anything about AI in the contracts? When all these people were signed, dude, AI wasn't even really a thing. Yes, there have been talks about artificial intelligence for a long while. We've technically had AI things for years, maybe a decade now or longer. There have been AI things created, but nowhere near this advanced. There hasn't been this heavy of a focus on it, like in terms of the industry evolving it and the media just covering it. And it definitely hasn't been this good in music. So it comes to the question of, what if there's nothing about that at all in the contracts? And that's like a loophole, and they start doing it. And then it becomes like one of those things, like how they were having to bring it into court. We've only had a couple of cases related to it about whether or not it should be eligible for awards, whether or not it should be able to gross profits at auctions, whether or not things should be labeled AI, like how food products are labeled. If we should have to label AI made shit AI, or give an estimate of how much AI had a role in making it. These things are being brought up in court. But here pretty soon, I really think they're going to start bringing up the whole, should you be allowed to make AI verses of artists who you have no rights over, like how Drake did Snoop and Tupac? Like, are they going to shut that shit down? Are they going to say you cannot make AI verses of people who have passed away? That type of stuff. Will they start cracking down on all these AI voice models and shit, taking people's voices from them, essentially? Literally, you're able to put words in people's mouth now. Then AI videos getting pretty good too. Here pretty soon, they'll be able to just take a video of Snoop Dogg, run it through some AI shit with the AI voice, and have it mimic the mouth movements. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's getting pretty good in terms of art, videos, and music. They're really capitalizing in those areas. And I think it's funny because we have AI in other areas, in medicine and construction and shit like that. There are uses of AI, like robotically, but I feel like most of the focus is on this creative shit. Like, we're not trying to make our jobs more efficient. It's almost like we just want to see how fast we can replace humans. We just want to see how much AI can do and how far it can go beyond what we ever thought it would be. We just want to experiment with all these creative ideas and strip the creativity from it. And there are people who will use it for good. And like we said, there are people like us who will use it to start a verse or end a verse or come up with a theme or help us, like, fucking brainstorm shit. I still wouldn't use it for production yet. Maybe for a really, really basic chord progression. And then I'd only take a couple of chords from it and I'd mix it up and I'd do my own shit because it still doesn't get super crazy. Like, there are some things, though, that are good. The thing I've noticed, too, is let's say you go to ChatGPT. It's generally there to give you answers and factual information and help with ideas or checklists and shit. And it's good at that. It fucking sucks at math, sucks at writing lyrics and shit. But there are specific sites and specific apps for that do way better. Like FL, the new beta they're pushing has an AI chord generator, and it's going to come in the next official release sometime this year. And I tell you what, when they drop that, it's going to be insane. Because they've been doing stuff with AI plugins, but this is going to be their first AI plugin to really write shit for you. Everything else is like denoising or de-essing or declipping or reverb shit. It's just AI that analyzes the content of what you're sending into it, and then it analyzes basically a bunch of other instances of this and puts it together as to how it can fix it or correct it. They're just AI algorithms playing behind the scenes. They're not full plugins that write shit for you yet or make melodies for you. But what we're coming up on now is it will be. It'll start getting put in the DAWs. You'll start seeing shit like that way more common. And I think it's gonna have a lot of positives and a lot of negatives. A lot of negatives, to be honest with you.
It's going to have a lot more negatives before it has a lot of positives. Now, I can see a lot of positives, but it depends how people treat it. It depends how people really go about it, because that's really going to be the deciding factor. It's how people use it. Sorry, my dog's trying to bowl me over. He's trying to play. But anyway, this is going to be called the Pusha Cast Mobile Edition. The Transition Edition, I guess, if you want to make it rhyme. Damn. All right, so I mean, I think there's a lot of questions. There's a lot more that we probably can't even think of at the moment. But I think we got most of the important ones for right now sort of put out there. I guess back to the music. Do you know if there are any new updates on album releases, single releases, mixtapes, and things like that? I mean, it's crazy. It's not just the big three and the what I would call the inner circle around the big three. Like, there's actually a lot of underground talent that's like popping the hell off right now. I mean, after Yeet, like, there's a few other ones that I'm seeing that's starting to crop up a little bit.
Yeah, and one other point I wanted to bring up before we close off on the AI stuff is, like, you remember whenever DAWs were really popping off and FL was like the most popular DAW of the year at one point, and people started being like, bedroom producers are ruining the game. Anyone can make music now. Think about what AI is going to do in terms of that. And for the new releases, I don't know of any underground new people, but I looked up the whole list of albums and shit they've got slated for release. There's supposedly a Kendrick one that's untitled right now. We've got J. Cole's The Fall Off this year or next year. We've got Party Next Door album, a Coolio album, and Coolio's dead, remember? So, like, we're getting a post-Coolio album here. And then there was another relatively big one. Obviously Eminem and that Dr. Dre stuff I mentioned a while back ago with somebody else, a Spanish artist, I think. He's probably just a producer. But like, I thought there was another one. Oh yeah, we're getting a Chief Keef album apparently, and we're still getting the Polo G album in August. And all Kanye stuff slated for release. But I'm not too in the underground scene at the moment. And just looking it up right off the bat, it doesn't really pop up with anything. I'd have to do a bit more digging to find some of that stuff out.
Dude, I gotta start digging around and finding the channels that I used to watch to get all of the underground stuff that I used to get. Because remember that what year it was that I was just like, look at this new artist, look at this new artist, look at this new artist. Oh, I found this song and this song. This guy's bubbling up and this girl's bubbling up and these groups are bubbling up and shit. It was around the time Brockhampton and all of them were coming up. I need to find that again. I need to find like access to that again. Some people that are talking about unsigned hype. You know what I mean?
So, bro, 2 days after our whole conversation about the Drake and Future and Kendrick beef with everybody joining in, people are saying like Drake is Thanos now, bro. Because he's like taking on everybody at once. And now that Kanye's involved, there's talk that Future and Metro are both going to get together and make their own remix of Like That, like That Part 2, but put Kanye on it as a feature. And then they're talking about putting Pusha T on it, bro. If Pusha comes in this shit, dude, oh, fuck, bro. Bro, Pusha versus Drake again, bro. That's not going to end good for Drake. Pusha could just one-shot Drake by himself, bro. Pusha's like fucking Iron Man, bro. Except Pusha doesn't die in this story, you know. But damn. I finally listened to that Drake track with the AI Tupac and Snoop Dogg. And honestly, putting his two diss tracks together, that one and then Push-Ups, the first one by himself, he's honestly winning, bro. Drake is honestly winning right now. Because if it's Drake versus Kendrick, Drake is beating Kendrick at the moment. However, if you tag on all, like, Cole doesn't count anymore. J. Cole doesn't count anymore. J. Cole pussied out. J. Cole's out of the conversation. People are taking shots at J. Cole right now. From Kanye to fucking, forget who the fuck else. But like, yeah, even Drake, bro, kind of took a shot at Cole. Because he said, like, Cole gave up or some shit, but he's not going to. He did it in a Drake bar way, though. But, yeah. Like, honestly, if Kendrick doesn't hurry up and respond, Kendrick's gonna lose, bro. And one of the biggest disses on Kendrick right now, the two big ones, are he's not really gangster, and he doesn't do what he raps about. He doesn't rep that life at all or live it. The second big thing that he could shut down if he drops is that he takes forever to respond. Like everybody, even Cole, when he dissed him before he apologized, was talking about how Kendrick takes months to drop an album, sometimes years, and that Kendrick won't respond for another few months. And everybody in the comments are spamming that about Kendrick. And I've noticed that people are putting up polls. They've been putting up polls like every week of all the new diss tracks that come out. They'll put up the 4 biggest ones, obviously Like That with Kendrick, and then they will do a Drake one usually. And then they might include the one with the Weeknd's verse or Kanye's. But I've noticed over time, everybody was saying like Kendrick won, no doubt. Everyone was in it for Kendrick. And then as more diss tracks came out, especially for Drake, from Drake, those votes have really shifted. Like there was a poll with a couple 100,000 votes on it. I voted in it. And I honestly voted Drake because right now Drake wins. Drake is definitely winning. And Kendrick had like 33% of the votes. Drake had 32%. Then the others were split amongst the other two people. I think one of them only had 1% though, and I think it was The Weeknd. Because honestly, his verse was just a little jab. It's really hard to say he had the hardest diss when it's The Weeknd and he sings all his shit. You know what I'm saying? It's really hard to say that was the hardest diss. And honestly, it wasn't at all. It was some weak stuff, but when you hear The Weeknd do it, it's like, holy crap, even The Weeknd's getting involved in this. Everyone's going at Drake, bro. That type of stuff.
Dude, you remember back in 2018 when Pusha basically released Story of ID and he said, I have like, what was it? I have 6 more lined up. Like, he literally had more tracks recorded. Imagine if he still does, and he just releases all like 5, 6 at once.
Bro, for real, if Pusha came back with that whole, I got 6 tracks more from the Story of Added On shit, if he came back with those 6 tracks, sorry, making Pop-Tarts, I don't know if you heard that. But yeah, if he comes back with those 6 tracks, or imagine if he just takes like verses off of them and slaps them onto other people's shit, or Metro or Kanye makes a whole new beat for him that goes to what he already had recorded, and then they slap their shit on there. Like, whether it happens or not, if Pusha gets involved though, dude, Drake's done. Bro, Pusha will end it. But yeah, I find that kind of crazy. I don't know if any of them would be another Story of Added On though. Like that's hard to do. Like what? Is he gonna expose that Drake had more kids with other women, and as soon as they had the kids, he split and left them, and he never made anything official or put it out online because the bro didn't want to take chances like that? Or say he destroyed some people's marriages or some shit by taking people's women. And then Drake will try to come back with the whole, you know, he's better than them, that's why he takes their girls type shit. But like, that wouldn't work, bro. I think a lot of people would be kind of pissed over that first part anyways, if that was a thing that popped up. I could see Drake doing that type of shit, dude. That's the thing. I could totally see Drake doing that because Drake has that fucking creepy collection, bro, of like all the bras and panties that have been thrown at him while he was on stage. Showed it off on Twitter back when it was still Twitter, I'm pretty sure. And he keeps them in a room too, all laid out like across the floor or a wall or something. And it has a mirror behind them. So when he takes pictures with it, you can see the reflection of all the bras. So it makes it look like he has double what he actually has. He had probably like in the 50s or 60s there. And then the mirror made it look like a couple hundred. You know what I'm saying? And he took a picture with it as a flex. Like, bro, the fuck, bro? Like, that's just kind of weird. If we ever got famous, bro, I wouldn't even do that. I just don't see that as a huge flex. I understand why he does, but bro.
Dude, I don't think I would want that or welcome that. I mean, if it happened to me, I'd probably take the fucking panties and bras shit, put them in a bin. You know, one of those things you kind of, I don't know. I don't even know what you do with them. Because why would you hold on to them? Like, I just don't get it.
For real. It's like I've seen a bunch of NF tour clips and I've been to 2 of his concerts. He's got bras thrown at him. And he doesn't touch him, he doesn't pick him up. He just looks at him and then makes a funny remark, like a joke about how he has a wife, because he does. He might have a kid, but I don't remember. I haven't kept up with NF an insane amount. I think he does have a kid, but I haven't kept up with NF an insane amount since Hope dropped. And it's been a little while since that album came out. I know it's still pretty new compared to his other stuff, but in the music world, new is an ever-changing term. New could be like the past week, the past couple of days, especially in times like these, because everything moves so fast when you have a big beef going on, unless you're Kendrick. But yeah, it's just crazy. Like, why would you keep them? What's the purpose? You know, when you could flex money or your cars instead, you'd probably get more likes over that instead of all the laughs. But to be honest, I'm wondering where this beef is going to head. And I definitely want to know, like, who else is going to join in this? Because technically Kanye's already joined in on his own terms. Rick Ross, by the way, I forgot to mention that. He dissed Drake too, I'm pretty sure. And Pusha might be joining. But other than that, I'm not sure. I've heard rumors that Kanye was going to add his Like That remix to Vultures 2, but he was also going to put a verse from Pusha and a verse from Childish Gambino on there, which would be kind of crazy. Like, Pusha alone would be kind of crazy, but Childish Gambino, that's kind of interesting. I didn't really expect him to have a lot of beef with Drake, but I don't really keep up with Childish Gambino. Aside from that, though, not too much more has happened, but I know the minute we end this video, you know, more is going to happen. Everything's going to explode again. I bet there will be something to talk about before Friday even hits, but the video will be posted by then. And yeah, other than that, I ain't got anything else to say.
Yeah, I got one more thing to say. Just one more thing. Also, I'm outside right now. But I got one more thing, too, about the Kanye thing and Childish Gambino. I'll keep up. I'm going to try to do some research and see if there's been any subliminal or whatever between Drake and Childish Gambino. You know, you watch. I mean, you got to think Kanye, for the first time in 20 years, has, I guess, directly dissed somebody. He's subliminally dissed a lot of people. Jesus. He subliminally dissed a lot of people, but not really at the same time. But this time he directly called someone out. A lot of people are going to start coming out the woodworks, and that's all I got to say. And again, for all the viewers out there, I'm in the middle of moving, so that explains all the audio quality on my end of things.
I'll go ahead and say the closing phrase: stay zooted and keep it kosher. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe and share it around. we have another video on this topic, which is currently sitting above 500 views. So thanks for that. And we'll see you in the next one.